Mississippi. We're at the Smith County Emergency Hospital. They just completed the dedication ceremony for Smith County Emergency Hospital. Just a reminder, not quite open just yet, but CEO Greg Gibbs informed us that the final inspections are imminent, scheduled any day, and after that, this fabulous facility will be opening and serving the community. But we're pleased to welcome now Brian Rhodes. He's a senator in the Mississippi State Senate, represents District 36. That includes Rankin County. He serves as the vice chair of the Senate Forestry Committee. Senator Rhodes, good to see you, my friend. Thanks for coming on.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Good to see you, Gerard.
So this was a big deal, this dedication. We're just remarking, we had Jeff Hall, a board member of Covington County Hospital, talking about the big crowd coming out today. It's exciting.
It is. It's a huge thing. It's a long time coming. You can like you said, you can tell by the size of the crowd how supportive the community is of it and how excited they are to be here. So it's a big day for Smith County.
No doubt. Anytime you can get this kind of a high-quality facility, healthcare facility, located in a rural county like this where it's so desperately needed, and cutting that time in travel when you've got a medical emergency to get to the doctor, and those minutes shaved can really mean the difference between a bad and a positive outcome.
That's right.
So it's a really good deal. So you guys have been meeting are we in week 3 now? I'm losing track of it at the Capitol with the session. I think it's week 3. We went into session. Let's see, it was the 6th. Isn't that right? So yeah, we're in week 3. It's been somewhat active. Bills are filed, a bunch of them. Had a little fireworks the other day that we've been talking about with your colleague Senator John Polk and the state auditor Shad White. That don't know that I've ever seen that one, Brian, in a hearing like that before with an agency head and legislators.
Well, I can tell you I've definitely never seen it before. This is only my second year up here, so that was a new one for me for sure.
Man, that was kind of crazy. And, of course, that has continued to play out in social media. There's no secret. There seems like there's contention between the lieutenant governor and the state auditor, and I'm sure that's just going to continue. But tell us about any legislation that you're keeping an eye on, that you are sponsoring, that what's going on in your world there.
Okay. Well, obviously everybody is looking at it as far as watching.
Yeah.
We're looking to see what we're going to end up doing with the tax bill. I don't know if that's something you're planning on bringing up or if you just want me to bring it up. But
no, go ahead. Sure. We've been talking about it a lot.
And I can tell you, look, with the committee and the short deadlines, I haven't read the whole bill yet. And for House Bill 1, we've got till Tuesday to get all of our original bills out of the Senate committees.
Yeah. And
so we'll focus more on that after. And since that has a later set of deadlines, we don't feel like it's such a rush. We got time to kind of look through it. And I would say that the Senate is definitely has an appetite to try to give the taxpayers some relief. And I hope that we're able to. I don't know what to expect to come out of committee, but I hope that we can get something that we can come to a working agreement between us and the House, and we're looking forward to working on that.
Well, we were just talking about that we're likely to get 2 different versions. Of course, the House version already passed the House, sent to the Senate. And as you said, I've spoken to Senator Harkins. He was on the program a couple of weeks ago, saw him since then, and the Senate is planning to introduce some sort of tax relief legislation. Don't know exactly what the details of that will entail, but it's going to be different, I think, than the House's bill. I think the question is, as you know, Senators, can we get both chambers together and find a consensus and get something passed?
Well, I'm hopeful that we can. I think we're all working towards the same goal. We just might have different ideas on how to get there. So I'm hoping that we can all come together with a good solution at the end of it.
Okay. Well, that's certainly going to be a high-profile item, certainly throughout the session, no doubt about it. Something else we have been talking about in a conversation yesterday with Representative Rob Robertson. He chairs the House Education Committee. He's got legislation that would require school districts in the state of Mississippi to consolidate, reducing them from the current level of 140 districts down to 82, equaling 1 per county. What do you think about that? Now, you got great schools there in Rankin County, and you've also got the Pearl School District, separate school district as well. Essentially, it would mean they'd come together and form one school district for Rankin County. How do you think that would work?
I haven't seen that bill, but
yeah.
Just off the cuff, I would think that they probably would not be very happy with that.
Well, that's certainly the case in my home county of Madison, because that would entail combining the Canton and the Madison school districts into one, and that's not popular in my county for sure from talking to people.
I don't believe it'd be popular in my county either, either one of my counties. Of course, you only have one district in Smith County, but the education is just a hard issue because there's ideas that would work great in areas of the state that may not work in other areas of the state. And I've had a real hard time with trying to wrap my head around some of the ideas floating around about changing up the way we do all the school. And I don't know that I think that the state ought to. I don't know what I think about it.
Okay. I actually agree with you that I think it's just really something Rob said yesterday. Let's get the conversation going. Makes sense in some areas, doesn't perhaps make sense in other areas. I had a listener yesterday text in that there are two districts in Tippah County, for example, with a relatively small student population, that maybe it doesn't make sense to have two different districts in Tippah County. But what the people have expressed an interest in is just reducing a lot of the back office administrative superintendent level overhead associated with having a school district in a case where you could put two together perhaps and eliminate some of that duplicate overhead. That's the general idea, to cut spending in that respect.
And I understand that, and I am for cutting spending, so I'm make that clear.
Okay.
But that does like we said, that may work. That may be something that needs to be done somewhere else. That may not need to be done locally.
It gets a little sticky.
So that's a tough one.
It gets a little sticky. Education, given the fact that it consumes about 55% of the total general fund budget, of course, it's always going to be on the table as an area that we could reduce spending. And I think where most people lean there is we got too many superintendents, too many school districts, too much overhead at the central office. We need to get that money back in the classroom. And that's actually what Representative Robertson said, is that we're not really thinking so much about cutting state appropriation to education. We're just looking at more of that being directed into the classroom as opposed to the home offices in these districts as an idea, which makes sense for sure. So what else you got? What else you guys thinking about? Something else that comes up is the ballot initiative, the citizen-initiated ballot measure process. Senator Nicole Akins-Boyd has introduced a bill that would establish some form of that, but it seems to be fairly limited as far as the people having the ability to make law at the ballot box. What's the general opinion on that?
We couldn't get the votes last year.
Right.
I haven't seen her bill this year. I'm assuming that's going through Constitution, or is that where that bill is? It's not in any of the committees I'm on, so I haven't read it.
Yeah, I need to look at it. Maybe AET for some reason.
Yeah, I think that's where it went through last year. That's tough, honestly, just because most conservatives that I talk to feel like you need that voice, but the issue, I guess, currently is that I couldn't tell you very many issues that I think that are conservative in mind that you would want to see on the ballot. That seem to be issues that you're constantly trying to fight as a conservative. So that one's also tough. I supported it last year. I said I would, so I voted for it last year, and I'm gonna try to keep my word. But that's also a tough one, just because, like I said, I think a couple of the issues that you hear about are not Republican conservative minded ideas that I think would probably make it to the ballot fairly quickly. Yeah.
Let's talk just for a minute about health care. The really high-profile and rather controversial issue of expanding Medicaid was big last year. Looks like that's going to be on the table perhaps again this year. My recommendation is let's see what the Trump administration does before you guys even think about expanding Medicaid, we may have trouble just paying for basic Medicaid at the rate the federal government is discussing cutting that program. It's going to come up. Got about 30 seconds left. Do you think we'll see something this year on that?
You know, the sentiment, and I haven't heard this from leadership, so I can't speak on it factually, but the sentiment that I'm hearing around the Senate is that they're not really expecting it to come up. A lot of guys, just recently, I heard today a few people saying we really don't think it's going to come up. I think if you were going to be for it, I think the responsible thing to do, like you said, would be to wait to see what President Trump decides to do. But I would probably not be in favor of it either way.
Gotcha.
I campaign saying I wouldn't. So
okay. Well, good. Well, we appreciate you keeping your campaign promise in that respect. Senator Brian Rhodes has been our guest here on Middays. We're in Smith County, Mississippi at the Smith County Emergency Hospital. Thanks for coming on, Brian. Appreciate it, man.
Thank you.
We're coming right back with the final segment on Middays. Stay